the atrocity, some of them seriously. 3 other people are confirmed to have died. And good that the game recognises the sacrifice that has been made, particularly by Constable Keith Palmer. So Neil Dukes, the man in charge of the Leigh Centurions, alongside him Paul Cook, and they have breathed life into the Betfred Super League this year. They've been a great story so far. Can they keep it going tonight against Chris Chester's men? Can they rewrite their own history books? Can they claim their first ever away win in the Super League? We'll see in 80 minutes, because Scott Griggs gets this game underway. And Ben Reynolds was the man underneath the kickoff. And here they come. Here we go then. This is the Betfred Super League, the opening match of this weekend. And Danny Tickle in for the suspended. Glenn Stewart takes the ball forward and takes the second tackle.
Eddie, this is the battle. Straight up front, you've got to make sure that you get your bodies in front of these Leigh Centurions forwards. The go forward over the last 5 games have been absolutely tremendous. In round 1, they couldn't get quite up to speed with Castleford. But after that, they've built in confidence week on week, and they expect to win here at Wakefield, but it'll be difficult for them.
It will be difficult, but here is Gareth Hock, the star of the show last week against Warrington, man of the match. He gets Wakefield to the 5th tackle, so the kick from Drinkwater from just inside his own half of the field. It's high, it's hanging, it's everywhere. It's well pouched in the end by Scott Griggs, and he just turns the ball up into the arms of the winger, Johnston.
He links up well at the back. Scott Griggs with Johnson. Johnson, all these spots, if he spots a little gap, he'll go for it. He's got the speed to finish a try from 80 metres out. So powerful as well going forward.
Well, he proved that last week. Liam Finn is trapped in possession.
And you'll see Liam Finn going in at dummy half as well, helping out Hadley in that hooking position.
That's big David Fafita. Plays the ball. That looked a touch forward, that pass, but referee Chris Campbell and his touch judges thought otherwise. Again, they have reached tackle number 5. They're just inside Leigh territory. Finn with the kick. This is what they were lacking last week, a bit of direction and some good kicks. That was a good kick. Ooh, now then, there's a little decision, and Adam Hickson is allowed to pick that ball up, although perhaps he was standing in an offside position.
He actually was stood in front, he moved in front of him, so he played the other man on the side. Okay with that.
Hampshire is the dummy half, the man who just trapped the ball and gave everybody wearing Leigh colours a bit of a heart attack. And Mickey Hyam relishing his return to Super League, as is this man, Harrison Hansen. 4 tackles gone. Leigh this time are on halfway. They're into Wakefield territory with Mickey Hyam. He is cut down though. Kermond in there quickly, and so too was Mitch Allgood. And Drinkwater again, left-footed and high into that left-hand corner. It means Ben Jones-Bishop has to come off the touchline and claim the kick, and then he is dumped to the ground. Solid running, great run from Acton, helped out by Hyam.
Well, I hope we get to see the Wakefield wingers with attacking situations. They both carried it in their own half. If you remember, 3 of the tries scored so far this season have been absolute classics. We saw one from Mason Caton Brown at St Helens, and we've seen Ben Jones-Bishop show a classic against Huddersfield, and Tom Johnson, of course, his 2 that he scored against Leeds. They've got pace and they've got finishing power out wide.
Hadley at dummy half gets the ball away to Sam Williams, and Williams is halted by 3. Again, they've reached tackle number 5, just inside Leigh territory. Griggs then, this time with the kick, high, and a tester. Well claimed by Rocky Hampshire.
Well, that's the luxury Wakefield have got. You saw Sam Williams, he got caught on that tackle, and because they've got various people that can kick the ball, Liam Finn being one of them, but on that occasion Scott Griggs kicks it and puts it up high.
Aiming to repeat a 36-30 cup win on this ground in 2015, the Leigh Centurions, who are in possession here now. And that is Reynolds at dummy half. He gets it away to Jamie Acton. Acton will take it forward. 4 tackles gone, 8 metres away from halfway. Acton to his feet, plays it to Hyam. Hyam looks for the runners, and it's Hawk again. Great pass away. Here is Danny Tickle. A ton of support with him on the right-hand side by Nuneaton. Ben Reynolds, great footwork. Wonderful play from Reynolds, and the try is going to be given by Chris Campbell. And Leigh, who began like a house on fire against Warrington, have repeated the trick here at Wakefield. great try, and it was Gareth Hock's initial run and a beautiful flick pass, and Neil Dukes will be delighted. Ben Reynolds with his second try of the season.
Eddie, I was just about to say the line speed from Wakefield was too passive. There was nobody getting off the line. You can't sit back on your heels. Gareth Hock has been turning up Super League. If he goes at you one-on-one, he uses footwork at the line, all of a sudden he breaks free. As soon as he gets his arm through, he's going to offload the ball into a player who's supporting. Look at this, uses footwork, goes at the line, plays through it, gives it to Danny Tickle, who's pushing up in support, and Ben Reynolds, look at the composure that he shows here to get over the try line. It's a good start for Leigh. They just ride all these tough periods, and you can see the support, the numbers pushing up in a Leigh jersey. Good play, Ben Reynolds.
Tremendous play from Ben Reynolds. Wonderful pass and run from Gareth Hock. Good support from Danny Tickle. And about 4 Wakefield defenders took the dummy that Reynolds gave them, and it opened up for Ben Reynolds, and he was over the line. So he now has the chance to add the extras to his own try. Reynolds 3 from 6 against Warrington last week with the boot, and 1 from 1 so far tonight. The Leigh Centurions are ahead by 6 points to 0.
A good try and an even better kick from young Ben Reynolds, who began his career at Castleford Tigers back in 2013. Watch him during this broken play. He's having to make adjustments, think on his feet, and quite rightly, composed was the word that Tez used, and that was a try from an offload from a great running Gareth Hock and a composed finish from Ben Reynolds.
Well, here's the man receiving that, the Ben Reynolds, to score the try. But you know, all the teams in Super League make breaks. It's the ones who convert the breaks into points that go on to win the matches. And Leigh have been particularly good this season at capitalising on any time a teammate gets himself through the defensive line. They've had men more often than not in a great position to take advantage.
I don't want to hex them, but a lot of people had Leigh tipped to be bottom of the table and battling for their lives come the end of the season in the middle eights. On the evidence of what we've seen in the opening weeks of this 2017 season, that is far from the truth.
It's a happy camp. Just look at the way that they're carrying the ball. They're not even looking to pass the ball before the line. They just tuck it under the wing, they run as hard as they can, and the job is to get down, play it as quick as they can for the next player.
Okay, now.
Griggs again, back at Wakefield after a long stint with the Huddersfield Giants. For a second spell here, he pouches this nice and cleanly. Here goes Ben Jones-Bishop now. We talk about the wingers for Leigh, Hickson and Matty Dawson, and people like Reynolds who can score long-range tries. Well, Ben Jones-Bishop can. He needs 1 for 100 in his career tonight, does Ben Jones-Bishop. And Fafita will take this ball forward again, but Leigh come in numbers to bring him down.
He's a real threat, Fafita, every time he gets the ball.
Good work in defence from Ben Crooks. And Crooks is hounding Liam Finn. Well, there's a bit of a collision there as well with Finn and Acton. The ball is pouched cleanly by Ryan Hampshire.
He does okay, Ben Crooks. He takes a bit of a hammering when he makes his tackle, but puts kick pressure on Liam Finn, and Leigh Centurions, they look good for the 6-0 lead, and they look comfortable. 7 minutes on the clock, coming up for 8, and they're in full control.
Here's Hickson now. He's taking 4 players with him towards that halfway line. Only 2 tackles gone this side. Leigh very much on the front foot. Here is Acton once again. Gets them over halfway. Good solid running from the big forward.
Eddie, they're opening up. Wakefield is showing some gaps behind the play. The ball, some players getting up, pushing up hard, some players just rocking back on the heels.
Important tackle that by Danny Kermont to stop Gareth Hock. Hyam will go left, finds Drinkwater, and this is Hampshire. Hampshire is hounded by Arundel, but still manages to get the hands free and gets the pass away. This now Drinkwater. Here is Reynolds, the try scorer. Danny Tickle, and Tickle gets it away to Crooks. Crooks goes inside Tupu, and the pass goes to the ground and off the legs. And it's gratefully picked up by Scott Griggs in defence.
Well, they're willing to play what's in front of them. They can change their attack from the left to the right. If they spot something on, see Crooks looking to offload the pass to Danny Tickle, who was pushing up in support on the left. Couldn't get the ball cleanly to him, though.
I think the pass away was ambitious, to say the least. But the good thing about Leigh is they're willing to chance their arm.
And not in a bad place to turn the ball over, Eddie. They were trapped in the right-hand corner, so the pressure was on Wakefield.
Fafita straight into the chest of the big man, Televe, and then he attracts 3 more. Mickey Hine was bounced off him.
As I said, Eddie's so powerful going forward. He was the only Wakefield player that managed to get over 100 metres last week against Leeds Rhinos, and he earns his side a penalty.
Yes, first penalty goes to Wakefield Trinity.
He's just a big, sorry Ed, he's just a big body, and he plays a wrestling, grappling with him, trying to be a little bit more forceful than he'd like, but he's earned his side a penalty and some quality field position.
Indeed so. It's a good kick by Liam Finn from the penalty. They begin this set 20 metres away with Bill Tupu and his first charge towards that line. Hadley waits at dummy half, gets the ball away. And here is Arona, Tinaru Arona, the Cook Island International 2013, will scramble to his feet and play the ball to Hadley. It wasn't the best pass. Wasn't the best pass. Sam Williams had to stretch forward for it. The chance is gone.
You make a very interesting point about the pass, wasn't it? You know what? More often than not, that pass from behind the play of the ball has to be spot on. Last week, a lot of Wakefield's passing accuracy let them down. That's not quite good enough to invite Sam Williams on to attack in that situation. Dean Hadley, it's the first chance we're getting to see him play as a hooker, standing behind the play of the ball, attempting to deliver 100+ passes if he stays on for most of the match. So many of them are so vital. Everything breaks down if the pass from there isn't good enough.
Well, they've got 2 wins so far in 2017 from 5 of Wakefield. Only once did they believe that they were outplayed, and that was last week at Leeds. But they've beaten St Helens away and Salford here. They lost narrowly to Hull and Huddersfield. It's a big year for Wakefield Trinity. All this talk about what's going to happen to them once this ground is vacated at the end of the year. Lots of speculation, and Michael Carter didn't do much to diffuse that, although he did say, and who wouldn't say this, that if an offer came in of £2 million for the naming rights of Wakefield Trinity, he would have to consider it for a place in Super League. I think even you, Terry, would think long and hard about that.
As you say, though, Eddie, it's unsettling, isn't it, for the coach, for the players.
I think Chris Chester and his coaching staff, though, they're just focused on what's happening out on the field.
Well, that's all they can do, isn't it? That's all that they can control. They can prepare the side for the games week in, week out in Super League. You can't control what goes on off the field. You've got to make sure that you get together as a group, you believe in what you're doing, you go out, you play, you get paid to enjoy your times on the pitch.
Terry, he could have picked
Liam
Finn at hooker, couldn't it? If he thought that Liam Finn would have given a better service than Dean Hadley did, then that was one option to them, and have Jacob Miller in the starting side.
Phil, I don't think it's not about the service from dummy half. Liam Finn is a tremendous player. Liam Finn's gone out there and he's going to guide him around the park. He's a dominant player, Liam Finn. He can't do that from dummy half. But when you put Dean Hadley in, the reason why he's put Dean Hadley in is not just for 6 running forwards, it's to control the ball forward from Leigh Centurions. It's nothing to do with the passing, and I'm sure you will see Liam Finn go in at dummy half.
Well, slight break in play while Chris Campbell gets some repairs to his walkie-talkie system. They all believe it's our fault, this, but he has to be in touch with his touch judges, and if the system's not working, it's got to be fixed up, Stuart.
Well, it is. They were having issues hearing him. We started off okay, but then his communication to the touch judge, which is crucial for the touch judges to do their role properly, so it's only right we get it sorted as soon as we can.
And no dramas, because the clock was stopped, so we're just over the 10-minute mark. Leigh are ahead by 6 points to 0. And in possession here, deep inside their own half of the field with the Televe. 33 tackles last week from the Televe against Warrington. And Mickey Hine would have enjoyed the victory against his former club last Friday. Harrison Hansen, they're trying to spin him to the ground, but he's a difficult being to put to floor.
Looks like he's got a new lease of life. And Harrison Hansen again, look at the power of which Gareth Fox running onto this ball.
And a good offload as well to Ryan Hampshire, good on his feet. Wide pass, finds Matty Dawson. Matty Dawson will take Ben Jones-Bishop back a few metres, and then he returns the favour with a bit of help from Danny Kermond. Get to his feet and play it though, will Dawson. Here comes Hansen now for Wakefield. For Leigh, I beg your pardon. Captain in the first 2 was Hansen against Castleford and Leeds. Drinkwater, well, that will just find touch. That will just buy them a bit of land.
He's the go-to man, isn't he? On the last plays, Josh Drinkwater commands that ball on the left edge. The dominant player last week, and in the previous 3 games for Leigh Centurions. Likes to take control. He's the player that they look to kick the ball on the last tackle. An excellent kicking game, whether it be long or short.
Suffered relegation with the London Broncos in 2014. Neil Dukes, though. Paul Cook happy that he is their number 7. He got a goal in the Broncos' 10-18 defeat here, by the way, 2014, did Drinkwater. So he knows the ground.
And I think Josh Drinkwater will benefit from the experience of Paul Cook. I sat near Paul Cook at the Salford versus Castleford Tigers game last week. He's really enjoying his role at the Leigh Centurions, but also having an influence on players like Drinkwater and Reynolds, spending some time honing their skills.
Well, here is another penalty for Wakefield. This will help.
Any field position will help.
And Reynolds wasn't convinced that this should have been a penalty, but referee Chris Campbell had other ideas. So Wakefield will restart midway inside the Leigh half of the field with Bill Tupu. Tupu will take it forward, evades a couple. Acton held on to him. Good job that he did as well. And Hadley gets the ball away to Arona, who looks to his right-hand side and finds Mitch Allgood, former Hull Kingston Rovers man, signed after they were relegated end of last season. Here again comes Fifita. Leigh quickly in his face. Hadley once again. Now this is a dangerous moment for Leigh in defence, because Allgood has it again. And Leigh muscling up. They have a couple of tackles left, though, to Trinity with Hadley. And Hadley will go on his own, and he almost gets the ball down. But the referee right on the spot says he's held up.
Yeah, well, Mickey Hyam just getting it underneath Hadley. Knew what most people do from dummy half. So close to the line. He anticipated what he was going to do. Good defence.
So last tackle here, and started 10 metres away. Finn brings Mashi Ashurst onto it. He gets it away to Williams. That's charged down, and Williams then pulled the man back. And it's going to be a penalty, I think, to Leigh in defence. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Tackle without the ball.
Well, they didn't quite get the kick through. Sam Williams trying to slot it through. The hand of Drinkwater goes up. The penalty's awarded.
They've had no field position. I wonder what was going through the minds of the playmakers in the Wakefield Trinity shirts. Why not dink the ball behind the defensive line and camp out here for a while?
Atelebe. 8 minutes inside his own half of the field. They have happy memories, to Leigh, of that cup win here in 2015 when they won 36-20. They were 22-0 down midway through the first half. It looked like their 14-game winning run was over, but they turned the game on its head in the second half of that year.
It's going to be another attacking kick if it's a strong play here from Garafoko. Is he going out the back? Yes, he does.
To Reynolds, and he then finds Drinkwater. They go wide to Hampshire, further wide they go.
Good tackle from Arundel.
Mitch Brown brought down on tackle number 5. Hampshire went down the blind side, then came back open, got the kick away. Ooh, and that's bounced sideways and off the posts. And Johnson, good on his feet, Johnson. Good tackle needed. Penalty, though, from Acton, held on to him too long.
He was nearly away, Johnson, then. I was listening to something in the week where he was talking about his role model, his idol, Scott Donald, the ex-Leeds Rhinos winger. He said, I base my game on Scotty Donald. When I get in the clear, I back my ability, back my pace and speed, and I go for the try.
I thought he'd have based his game on yours, Barry, really, if he was talking of that era at Headingley.
I doubt it.
No, he catches the ball.
Well, the way that Leigh have played and given away the 3 penalties so far, it's offered Wakefield a glimmer of hope here, because they've been poor for 10 minutes. They were out-muscled at the start of this match. You could say out-enthused for some of the play, but they're offering a chance here now. They've got a bit more possession, they're inside their opponent's half, and they are starting to play.
Kermond back in the starting lineup tonight, Danny Kermond. His 250th career appearance coming off the bench last week against Leeds. Here now is Mitch Allgood. Started for the first time against Leeds last week, and here he is in the second start of his Wakefield career. Was that ball touched? Has it gone backwards? No, it hasn't. The referee puts the hand in the air and says this is the last tackle. So they've lost ground, Wakefield. Finn with the kick. A little bit long, a little bit too deep. Knocked backwards. He's lucky. Oh, well.
The referee, Chris Campbell, saying that's a knock-on. He was under pressure, Liam Finn, when he gets this kick away. Well, the ball goes backwards.
How can that be a knock-on?
Well, it's gone backwards, isn't it? Well upfield, Chris Campbell.
Don't you think, though, Stuart, that most of the times when players lose the ball in a situation like that, the referees do call it as a knock-on?
They do have a tendency to do that, but you know, you've got to look at it and see where the ball goes. You know, it's got to go towards the opponent's line.
Whose call was that? Whose call was that?
That was Chris Campbell's call.
Okay.
Was the touch judge not in communication? We were talking about.
Well, they're all in communication. They're all in communication.
Well, why didn't they communicate that was a...
Well, the referee's made the decision. He's the decision maker on the field.
He's blown the whistle and you can't argue with the referee, Barry, and you always do. All of you always argue with poor old Stuart. And he hasn't got a whistle in his hand anymore.
Well, this is where Wakefield need to be. Need to build some pressure here on the line. Some good service, some good attacking options.
Yes, this is a glorious chance. Kermond. Hock meets him head on. Atelebe and Mickey Hyam come in and wrestle him to the floor. Hock trying to disentangle himself and does. This now is Fafita taking on Drinkwater. Great pass away. And Rundle. Oh, hello. I wondered whether his feet had just gone over the dead ball line there, but the referee, Campbell, was right on the spot and pointed immediately for the try. But hang on, is there a discussion coming in? Is there a discussion with Jack Smith, his touch judge? No, he's given the try anyway, it's too late.
Eddie, that's a try.
I know, he's pointed to the spot.
A big run from David Fafita. He's a colossal man. He goes from the open side to the blind side. All came about from that dubious decision. Ryan Hampshire and Leigh Centurions, I think they've had a tough call there, but the field position and the opportunity presented itself to the Trinity side. There's that late run. There's no footwork, no deception. It's a very powerful run and a very delicate offload. Lovely stuff from Joe Rundle. Puts himself in the frame, close support, good try.
And a mile away from the dead ball line.
If it's a powerful run, it's a weak attempt at a tackle by Josh Drinkwater. There's clearly not enough commitment there. He could have put far more into trying to prevent David Fafita from bursting.
There is a mismatch in size.
That's what he does, and he spots it on the other side. He flashes straight across the back of the ruck, and then he picks him out. As soon as he picks him out, he plays through him. Look, he's got eyes for him. As soon as he goes through, then all of a sudden you've got players trying to hold on, and Joe Rundle just pushes up, knowing that his teammate can get that ball away.
Yeah, you could close your eyes and hope for the best. He could have thrown a lot more at that.
Well, he didn't. And Wakefield Trinity are level at 6 points apiece.
Well, Leigh have to accept the decision of the knock-on that went against them, but the thing they can affect are the penalties that they've been conceding. You know, it's the little things that make the big difference in this sport. And conceding penalties have given Wakefield a real opportunity now to get back level.
Well, there have been 4 penalties. Wakefield have received 3 of them. Leigh just the 1. Here is Tom Johnson again. He's away from the clutches of Mickey Hyam. He's quick. And I tell you what, Ben Reynolds knew that, and that was a despairing tackle. And was he standing square, Jamie Acton? No, he wasn't.
And it's only a couple of strides before he's at full pelt. Johnson, as soon as he gets through, he lands on his front, he jumps up, he plays the ball. Look at this, steps off his left foot, gets rid of Mickey Hyam, who's a decent defender, goes straight through, lands on his front. Look at him fighting to get up, then Jamie Acton just anticipating that next play, knowing that it's going to be a little scoop from Ashurst.
So here is Liam Finn, and Wakefield now suddenly have taken the initiative with Fafita again, the man who produced the try just a few moments ago. Hadley is the dummy half. Arona is his runner on his left-hand side, but he goes right, and he finds Mitch Allgood. And Allgood is grounded 10 metres away from the Leigh line. Dean Hadley waits at dummy half, looks for the runners. It's Arona. Acton and Hyam doing the job, and they had to because it was only metres away. Here now is Liam Finn again. Finn gets it wide to Grix. It's opened up. It's opened up for Grix. And Grix touches down. Applause from the coaching staff, led by Chris Chester. Applause on the terraces as well. And Scott Griggs has turned a 6-point deficit for Wakefield into a 10-6 lead with a kick to come.
Eddie, the forwards were carrying the ball strongly. And Leigh Centurions, they were caught out on their right edge. Ben Crooks bites in, he tries to solve the problems himself. With great space, but look at this. Johnson sets it up, gets through Mickey Hyde, keeps powering those legs. And I know he's one of your favourites, isn't he, Phil?
I also thought this penalty decision was a very tough call. Leigh need to accept that now. The scoreboard's ticked on and they've scored a brilliant try. Passing out wide and so much space here now. Confusion on the gap for Griggs to go through and score. Leigh need to recover from it. But again, it was a penalty conceded and given the Wakefield side this chance here now. And they look a completely different team to that we were watching 15 or 20 minutes ago.
And they've added the extras. And so it's 12-6 to Wakefield. I must say the penalty looked a little bit harsh on first viewing because Acton seemed to have both hands on the two shoulders of Tom Johnson as he got up and played the ball.
Well, it was very close, wasn't it? You know, when he gets when the ball is played with the foot, he has to be directly in front of him. He probably just takes a step to the left just as he plays the ball, which is why the penalty's come.
Well, they've had two calls that maybe go against them, but they've got to defend better. Ben Crooks got it all wrong. He shot in, he presented that gap for Scott Griggs, and again he just spots it, plays what's in front of him. And for the last 10 minutes, well, it's been all about Wakefield, hasn't it?
It has. They've got the tails up. There's no doubts about that at all. 2 wins from 3 for them. Leigh 3 wins from their last 4. Beat Salford here 2 weeks ago, 24-22. Their first home win since last May. They're chasing a second. And we are just over the midway point of this first half. Griggs, that's charged down. That'll be play on. Leigh have the ball back on the halfway line. That was alert work by Harrison Hansen.
Well, he puts his hand up straight away. Scott Griggs turns around to his teammate, kicking on the third play, knowing that there was nobody back for Leigh Centurions. But he opens up the gap, and now they give a penalty away. The frustration sets in for Wakefield. Kicking early, they don't get anything from it, and now they get a penalty away 40 metres out from their own line.
Leigh have made a change. They brought Sam Hopkins on. This is Gareth Hock, though. This is what he did against Warrington last week. Charged onto the ball.
He takes a big run up as well. He must be 5 or 6 metres back when he catches the ball. He's at full pelt, to use your expression, Tez.
Well, he says he fancies a recall to the England side, and his coach is backing him all the way with the World Cup coming up at the end of this season. He certainly seems to be in a much better place these days, does Gareth Hock. Mickey Hyam trying to pitch one from dummy half and does. That's experience. That's crafty play. Mickey Hyam with a kick to come will put Leigh level. 128 career tries before that, so that's 129 now. And that is quite a total for a hooker. And Mickey Hyam, even at 36 years of age, knows how to score them.
Well, they've worked really hard for this. Here's the charge down, putting kick pressure on Wakefield Trinity. Didn't allow them to get that kick away. Then here's the big fella, Gareth Hock, gets through contact. In his haste and hurry to play the ball, a penalty ensues. And then the smart craft, the technician, Mickey Hyam, he's probably done this 150 times during his career. He knows what to do. And he gets Leigh Centurions another 4, possibly 6 points in this game.
Well, can Ben Reynolds adds the extras? He should do. Bang in front, 10 metres out. We should be level here after just over 25 minutes gone.
Back on.
Reynolds makes no mistake. Thumps the ball over the top of the bar. 12 all it is.
It's a good sell from Mickey Hyam, isn't it, from dummy half? He's got Gareth Hock, who's causing a lot of problems, so defenders looking at Gareth Hock. You can't take your eyes off that man, though. All the intelligence that he's got. Soft defence,
I think it's a preventable try, isn't it, at this standard here now, with the awareness that teams have. If you watch the Super League on Sky for the last 15 years, you've seen him try that before. They've just not had the concentration or the technique to get low enough and prevent him.
Keep it low,
And the feature for me last week with Leigh was when they ran like they meant it. And I think you'd say that again here tonight. Some of the carries and the meters they're making after contact, significantly better than their opponents. But still, the score's 12-all.
Yes, all square. Ben Crooks fighting to get to his feet. Dean Hatley over the top of him. Referee Chris Campbell does not give the penalty. Saints Warrington tomorrow night. It's absolutely crucial for these two sides. Bottom four, both of them. Warrington, rock bottom. Saints against Warrington is live, 7:30 on Sky Sports 2. Another big weekend in the Betfred Super League. Hampshire with a scamper from dummy half. Kerman with a bit of a swing. The ball comes out the back door to try scorer Hyam. He fires it to the left-hand side. The Televay is immediately clobbered by Ben Jones-Bishop. That's good defence.
He did well to close that play down because he was sat right back in the pocket, anticipating a kick then.
And so Reynolds with the kick this time goes up the centre of the field. Ooh, and that bounces and bobbles off the chest of Scott Griggs.
It was a lovely measured kick, though. He assessed the situation. I think the first kick he was going to go in was blocked, possibly by the winger, adjusted his sights, and a good kick and chase from Leigh.
And now Televay returns the compliment on Ben Jones-Bishop. Liam Finn has gone in at dummy half. And Kyle Wood has come off the bench now. So we might see a little bit of nippiness now around the play of the ball from the Wakefield Trinity side. And here he is. And Craig Hubie is out there as well.
Yeah, David Fifita going off. I'm sure that you will see him again just before half-time. Quick rotation, get the big fella back on again.
Williams with a high kick. It's gone almost straight up in the air.
It was a poor kick, Eddie. But again, he's under pressure.
Mitch Brown did well. Under pressure from Ben Jones-Bishop to take that ball in.
The Northern in the battle here now. 13 minutes to half-time. Keep on dealing with the dangers, the threats that's in front of you.
Gareth Hock has done a first stint for 27 minutes. He now has been replaced by James Green. So the coach is rotating the big forwards. Here is Sam Hopkins.
And that's your job now as a sub. When you're introduced off the bench, you can't let the intensity drop. You've got to really raise it up again. You've got to add that impact. You've got to lead from the front and do what your teammates did before they left the field.
Drinkwater again, another high kick with that left boot of his. Ben Jones-Bishop is underneath it, but it's well taken, and it's a great hit by Mitch Brown.
He did well to catch that, didn't he? As soon as that ball touched his arms, he looked up and saw a black wall coming at him. Look at this.
Knock on here. As you're watching this replay, we just had a knock on.
Tom Johnston, isn't it? He loses the ball. He's hit by 3 or 4 defenders, and there's a sense here now amongst the Leigh supporters that the team have got a great position and now want to go ahead here. There's a buzz, isn't it, about the men with the black shirts? A lot of back slapping, a lot of hand clapping. Hand almost on the ball there as it's wrestled to the floor and it comes free. Referee says scrum down.
Well, they're enjoying life in Super League, aren't they? The Lathers from the Leigh Sport Village. And so is he, Neil Dukes. Keeps going like this, he's going to be a candidate for Coach of the Year.
Doing a fabulous job, isn't he? Him and his coaching team.
Untidy. Untidy pass, picked up though by a Televay. 20 metres away from the line. Here is Green. First real touch for James Green. Makes 10 good metres. So now 10 away. And Hyam is behind him at dummy half. Gives it to Harrison Hansen. Reynolds gets it away to Ben Crooks. And Crooks is eventually put to ground, fighting for his feet. Plays the ball to Hyam. Hyam gets it away, and oh, they're over again. They are over again. 2 quick tries for Wakefield, 2 quick tries for the Leigh Centurions. And it's Sam Hopkins who has scored the try. It is his 50th try for Leigh. So a milestone for him, but more importantly, it nudges the Centurions into the lead as we go 10 minutes away from half-time.
Well, Johnson loses the ball as he's bringing it away from the try line. Reynolds over the top. And Mickey Hyam Well, what he wants is big fellas running into gaps, and he'll find them with a perfectly timed pass. You don't have to slow your stride, you just keep hitting that line, keep picking out that aggressive line. Mickey Hine sells it one way, goes back the other, and a good effort from Sam Hopkins.
Well, it's much like the Fafita try. What Hopkins has done is he's picked out Kyle Wood, run right over the top of a small man. Lovely delivery from Mickey Hine, who finds the pass, and it's an accurate pass. We talked about the lack of accuracy from Dean Hadley over the other end a couple of, probably 10 or 15 minutes ago. Stay still.
Well, here he is again. Ben Reynolds to try and add the extras. Sam Hopkins has got a try here in Leigh's Cup win in 2015, their last visit to this ground. That was a victory, so they'll be hoping that lightning strikes twice. And they are now 18 points to 12 in the lead.
Yeah, they've turned the field position into an advantage, aren't they? We sometimes don't appreciate enough just how inviting the pass needs to be, and Mick Hyam delivered it so well, didn't they? There was Harrison Anton outside him, which meant it was man-on-man defence on their own line. There was no way that Carl Wood could stop him from that range.
Well, it's entertaining. 18-12, plenty of points, plenty of tries. Such big stakes for these two sides. Now Pelissier's out there now for Leigh, and he will be a handful.
He's a live wire from dummy half. Pelissier. And Eddie, I'll say it again, the Leigh forwards are running hard. They're picking one man out there. They're running a straight line. Look at that. Green with his second carry in this set of 6.
Pelissier will invite another one. Oh, that's high. That's a high shot across the top of the shoulders by number 17, Craig Hubie.
Harrison Anton then comes from one side to the other. Late footwork. Gets it all wrong, Craig Hubie. You know, you've got to be strong when you go into Harrison Anton. He's got a decent hit and spin. Power through the line. Uses footwork. Puts the big fella off then, who just reaches out with his left arm.
Let's keep him down, Craig.
So Leigh will begin this next set just inside the Wakefield half of the field. With Pelissier, the referee though wants a second football that has come back onto the field to be cleared. And it is, so Pelissier now can get going. Finds Reynolds, and then here's Danny Tickle.
Hold! Get square!
That was the first tackle from Hubie and Arona. Hopkins, once again, scored a try in the 13-0 victory against Huddersfield as well, did Hopkins. Lachlan Burr is on the field. 4th in a row that the Aussie has come off the bench. We'll play it to the Frenchman Pelissier, who finds Drinkwater. A little drop of the shoulder from Drinkwater. He had to take the tackle. There's a good one from Kermond as well. Here is Televay. But Televay smuggles it back to Drinkwater. He then finds Reynolds. Reynolds into centre field. They're looking for the try again with Hopkins. Last tackle coming up for the Leigh Centurions. Pelissier gives it to Reynolds. The ball is flicked nicely. Here is Crooks. Crooks gets it down. Wasn't tackled. Crooks scores the try. Well, Leigh established themselves early, then they lost the lead. Wakefield took the advantage to get back to 12 all, and since then Leigh have been back in charge. 3 quick tries, 3 in 10 minutes. Hyam, Hopkins and now Crooks, and the game is swinging in the way of the Centurions.
In any game, discipline is crucial. If you keep your discipline, you don't present opportunities, give field position to your opposition, you're not going to be struggling as the Trinity side are. It's a beautiful pass, timed to perfection. Ben Reynolds hands it on, and Ryan Hampshire just puts it on a plate to Ben Crooks. You'd have to admit, you'd have to say, a little bit sloppy in defence. This Trinity side probably need to be a bit more alert on the goal line.
Well, we had 11 tries the last time these two teams met on this ground, and the way we've seen the first half, looks like we've got a great chance of getting another 11 tonight. As Leigh look red hot, they've got plenty of tries in them. And if Wakefield can get some possession, I'm sure they'll find a way over across the line. But with a 10-point lead here, possibly 12, Leigh are in control.
Difficult kick coming up for Ben Reynolds, 100% so far. Weighing it up. Did I say difficult? Doesn't look like there's anything difficult for Ben Reynolds at the moment. They lead by 24 points to 12 to the new boys in the Betfred Super League.
Well, conceding 3 quick-fire tries. Reynolds at the line. Again, Hampshire at the line. You can see that Tom Johnson, he's gone past where that player was going at Crooksville. He goes through some weak defence. And Chris Chester will not be happy with the way that they've side of let Leigh Centurions into this game.
Well, Chris Chester, he's there behind John Keir, who is the elder statesman at Trinity these days. Chris Chester celebrating 12 months in charge this week. He began with a 36-22 win against Huddersfield last Good Friday.
And what about that carry from Green? Picked out Kyle Wood, sent him backwards.
So we've got less than 5 minutes to half-time, and Pellissier for the Leigh Centurions.
You know, when you're in a game, Eddie, when you're forwards, when they're going up, they're trying to meet their opponents, the heads are getting rocked back. The opposition are landing on the front. You can see not being dominated. It's not a slow play, the ball. Kicking on the 4th plate.
Drinkwater all the way down the line, will find touch. And that's game management, they call it, don't they, in 2017?
Yep, take the sting out of the game. Again, the number of Leigh players that pushed up, they recognised what Drinkwater was doing. Neil Dukes, he would have turned up here knowing that there would have been a reaction from what happened last week when Wakefield took on Leeds Rhinos at Headingley. But they've certainly met fire with fire, and they knew that they were going to be a battle up front when Dean Hadley was there, starting in that hooking role, trying to pull the Leigh forwards down and take the sting out of their runs early on in the game.
They won't be bleating about it, the Leigh Centurions, but the 2 Wakefield tries coming on the back of questionable refereeing decisions. First of all the knock-on and then the penalty. But as I say, they won't be bleating about that with a 24-12 lead, particularly if they take it with them into the half-time dressing rooms. Here's Danny Kermond, though, trying to do his best that they don't do that the lead is reduced by at least 6 points. And they have a couple of tackles and just over 3 minutes of this first half remaining. Arundel now on the ball for Wakefield, the score of one of their tries.
Eddie, in a 12-point lead's not big enough margin, you know, to worry Wakefield. Wakefield can still score points.
Williams' kick almost stands up on the turf. Hampshire picks it up.
This is where Wakefield need to be good. Discipline, don't give those penalties away. Defending numbers again. You can see picking up Kyle Wood, who's getting rocked backwards. Just the energy, the effort that Leigh Centurions seem to be playing with at present.
Pellissier again looks for the runners. It's Adam Hickson up to halfway on tackle number 4. Lachlan Burr again flicks the pass back to Ryan Hampshire. They look to offload, don't they, Leigh, whenever they get their arms free. Hampshire's tackle, though, standing up. Referee shouts held. He will play the ball eventually once Liam Finn's hand is taken away from it, which it is now, and Reynolds will hoist it high. And Griggs, behind his own try line, is allowed to defuse the ball. It's a tap 20.
Trying to get on with this game as quick as they can.
And 7 tackles from there for Wakefield to try and get the ball up the other end before the half-time siren. Liam Finn, good hands. Here is Bill Tupu, but they are very aware of the danger that Tupu poses.
It's this left edge with Ashurst, Tupu, Johnson. That's the side that can cause problems. Been very impressed with that left edge for Wakefield all year.
Tickle going for a bit of a piggyback on the back of Craig Hubie, gets him down eventually. Kyle Wood finds Liam Finn. Finn then gets it away to Williams. Williams then to Griggs, and Arundel puts the pass down. This is a free play. Matty Dawson has it for Leigh. He'll take the tackle from Ben Jones-Bishop, and now he gets the penalty because Ben Jones-Bishop would not let him get to his feet and get a quick play the ball away.
Yep. Well, again, Eddie, you can see that Joe Arundel's having a little look at Mitch Brown in number 1 shirt for Leigh Centurions.
It's a drop goal coming in this minute.
Do you think so, Phil?
Well, you never know. With a 12-point advantage, 1 minute less than to the half-time siren. A couple of drives into the 20-metre mark, and we'll see. Hopkins is doing exactly that. Now another couple down the middle. And you never know, Ben Reynolds is there. Josh Drinkwater is there as well. And there is Drinkwater down the left-hand side. Maybe they're thinking about the 1 point to Wakefield. Ben Jones-Bishop to the rescue. They just seemed to hang on a bit then down that side. They were expecting maybe another drive up the middle. It never came.
Well, that's Drinkwater, isn't it? He plays what he sees. He spots some space at the back, but Ben Jones-Bishop did as well. He came to the rescue for his Wakefield teammates. Such an intelligent player, Drinkwater. He's fitted into the league club, the systems that's been put in place by Neil Dukes.
Time's off, so they have just over 15 seconds. And here is Reynolds. Now then Green will take it in.
This could be your setup play, Clarkey.
Well, what are they looking for? They are looking for a drop goal from Drinkwater. It's a little bit wide of the mark. It is a very difficult skill, but I'm afraid that hurried drop goals look a little bit unspectacular. But these Leigh Centurions fans will not be bothered by that. Leigh led 6-0. Then we had 2 quick tries from Wakefield that gave them a 12-6 advantage. And then you talk about quick tries. There was 2 in 3 minutes for Wakefield. There were 3 in 10 then for the Leigh Centurions from Hyam, Hopkins. It was a milestone for Hopkins, his 50th for the club, and then Ben Cook 6 minutes from half-time. Reynolds hasn't.
When you're getting ready for your first Hockey Night in Canada game, it's a big deal, and you want to perform well on the biggest stage, and that's the biggest opportunity on Saturday night. This is Hockey Night.
WrestleMania, here we come! And here we go!
With the season just around the corner, watch the boys of summer as they gear up for another AL East title chase. Blue Jays Spring Training, Saturday on Sportsnet.
Ground, but not tonight. The cup win in 2015 was only their 8th victory in 25 post-war visits to Wakefield. But they lead by 24 points to 12 as we prepare to get the second half underway. And some of the defeats on this ground have been pretty big. Previous to 2015, they lost 54-0 in 2009 and 14 points to 60 in 1998. Neil Dukes, though, has certainly turned the juggernaut around this year. Knocking on the door for 2 years, the Leigh Centurions. Then into the Super League at the end of last year. And, of course, every tipster, every pundit taking the easy option, saying, well, if they've come up, they're bound to be struggling. They might go straight back down at the end of 2017. But on the evidence of the opening month or so of the season, Leigh look full value for their place in the Betfred Super League. But what can Wakefield do in this second half to get the game back?
Well, Wakefield need the fair share of possession and position. And you look at Leigh Centurions, when they conceded those 2 quick-fire tries in the first half, they could have folded, but what did they do? They went back up the other end of the pitch. They scored 3 tries in 10 minutes. They only made 1 mistake, Eddie, in the first half. So they've had excellent ball control. They've also, the way that they've carried the ball, they've been strong, they believe in themselves, and they're pushing up into that next hole for each other.
Well, Wakefield, I'm sure, have come out with the words of Coach Chris Chester ringing in their ears. He won't have been impressed with the fact that they built a 12-6 advantage and then threw it away. Probably will be his view in the closing stages of that second half. This is Arona who plays the ball to Wood, and he finds Liam Finn. Phil then gets the ball away, and here they come again to the Wakefield Trinity side, but Arundel is brought to ground. Gricks at dummy half, and the kick from Williams all on the ground, bouncing its way towards the touchline. Oh, but Ryan Hampshire, well, he had to pick that ball up. It just came back off the touchline, almost like it had hit a brick wall and came back at him, and he was only millimetres away from putting a foot in touch.
He did well to get that, didn't he? It was a good opening set of 6. Look at this, so close.
Oh, my word.
I did well to get that, get back into the field of play.
If that was a wobbly machine down that touchline this morning when they put the lines in, he would have been in touch.
Well, I think they need to find some energy, the Trinity side. These 2 sides last week played 24 hours apart. And it shows, it looks like the Leigh Centurions who played on Thursday had that extra day's rest. They're full of energy. Chris Chester said last Friday after the Leeds game, he said he thought his side were out enthused. Well, I think the first 40 minutes he can throw the same accusation.
Well, let's see what was said at half-time by both Chris Chester and Neil Dukes as Wakefield get a penalty for a high shot here. Let's go down to the sideline and join Bill Arthur.
Yeah, that was the thing that aggrieved Chris Chester in the first half the most, that Leigh ran harder, tackled harder, and were just harder and more committed in the first 40 minutes than his side was. That's a disappointment, given the emphasis that was put on that in the build-up to this game, that Wakefield knew that that was what they were going to have to come up with, and that was what they would be up against in the shape of the Leigh Centurions. And so they're looking to up that particular factor in the second half, to take it to the Centurions. They're looking for people like Craig Hubie and co to deliver that in the middle of the field, and then they're hoping they can feed off that. Leigh anticipating this comeback from Trinity, I should say, and they're looking to tighten up their defence and cut out the penalties. Otherwise, Neil Dukes very happy with his side's performance.
I bet he is, and he'll be happy on the fact that Liam Finn is brought to ground. Here now is Hubie once more, driving it down the middle, but halted 19 metres away from the Leigh line. So on the last tackle plays the ball, and here is Liam Finn with a kick to the in-goal area. And it's very well claimed. Really well claimed by Adam Hickson.
He had to be brave, didn't he? But it was a well-placed kick as well. He just dropped it down about a metre from Leigh's line. Look at this. Had to be brave. There was knees coming flying at him. You could see that the Wakefield players were pushing up.
Having one or two problems, I'm afraid, with our clock during this second half, the clock and the score line. So let me tell you, it remains 24-12 to the Leigh Centurions. 4 minutes of this second half have gone or thereabouts.
Well, kicking now has a massive bearing on a match of rugby league, and if you think about the kicks that Wakefield have made to start the second half, they've been two very high quality and difficult ones for Leigh to deal with. Whether that's enough to change the game will be important. I'll be interested to find out, but you know, the scoreboard was very accurate reflection of the first half, and if there was such a thing as a commitmentometer, it would be heavily in favour of the Leigh side, who've tried far harder than their opponents.
I wonder how long it will be before Chris Chester throws Jacob Miller into the fray. Was Jacob Miller on the bench tonight? But he could be the X factor late on that could just turn this game Wakefield's way.
When some of the bigger Leigh players are tired, Eddie, he's an out-and-out runner, Jacob Miller. He's a very talented player, but he likes to target some of those middlemen when they're going backwards, whether he comes on in the hook and roll or whether he comes on in the half.
Well, we shall wait and see. Timing is of the essence for these coaches to make their changes. And I think that Keegan Hurst is on the field for his Super League debut. Here is Scott Griggs. That's good feet from Griggs. But it's the turnover because that was on the last tackle.
Yeah, we're looking to run it, spot some space out on the edge. Griggs talked about him in the first half, saying how talented he was. He can spot some gaps. He pulls defenders out of lines. You could see a couple of the Leigh players on the left edge jumping the line, expecting him to pass the ball to a teammate outside of him. Is there a problem with Drinkwater here?
Well, that would be a big blow to the Leigh Centurions because Drinkwater is a key man.
Looks like there's been a bang on his knee, or he's torn some cartilage in that incident. With the way the physio was looking around on that part, they'll be hoping he can get back up on his feet. We need him and Reynolds back in action, but there is this surge of effort and energy here now from Wakefield. It's unsurprising that they were going to put this in. They only survive in Super League if they win the difficult games, and this is one where they definitely need to pick up 2 points.
Leigh still ahead by 12 points. Good run here from Elwar Palicia. 24-12 to the Leigh Centurions it is. Ryan Hampshire, the dummy half, looping past to Reynolds. Reynolds with a big kick down the centre of the field. The ball stands up for Ben Jones-Bishop to run it back for Wakefield.
He's struggling, Drinkwater. He waved the physio away, said, yeah, I'm fine, I'm okay. But he looks like a passenger at the minute.
Kermon, the man who drove that ball forward.
The if you're a Wakefield player now, you'd be targeting Drinkwater. He's over there on the left.
You're right, Tez. He's the most un-OK bloke on that pitch at the minute. He's limping along, trying to get back in the line.
Great description, Barry. The most un-OK bloke.
Yeah. Well, there he is.
Can't argue with it. The ball is flicked out wide, though. Here comes Bill Tupu. That ball has gone to ground again, and the referee said touched in flight by Leigh Centurion. 0 tackle here then. So they've got 6 more from here at Wakefield, and they're deep in Leigh territory with Liam Finn. Pops the ball up to Keegan Hurst, making his Super League debut, his first appearance for Wakefield.
You see the offload and the hands in from Leigh. Again, they're playing the ball away from Drinkwater. You take it back to him now on the long side. Make him run, make him move.
To go left, though, with Finn. To the line, he finds Griggs. Griggs then gets it wide. Here is Johnston. Johnston's good on his feet, and he is so good on his feet that he just turns the Leigh Centurions defenders inside out and scores the try that just might spark a revival here. Well, Tom Johnson got 2 last week against Leeds at Headingley, the young player of the year. 4 tries in 4 in last year's Super 8s. And that's 3 tries for 2017 now for the 21-year-old. Tom Johnson just tiptoed down the line.
Tell you what, Eddie, forget getting it Drinkwater. Give the ball to Johnson on that other edge. We talked about his power, we talked about how strong he was. We get another set of 6 here, the ball comes off Danny Tickle, the offload from Tupu. They're trying to keep the ball alive. Again, the late shift in defence from Leigh Centurions. Griggs out the back, making up the numbers, but have a little look at this. Big see you later to Ryan Hampshire. Again, some poor defence on shore, but you've got to give some credit to Johnson. The big, powerful youngster that he is. He will back himself close to the line or with some distance to go.
It's a lovely setup to give him the opportunity. Here's Williams, he's added the extras, but during the Facebook Live before the game that myself and Terry O'Connor do, I was asked who's my favourite player, who's my favourite young and up-and-coming player. Tom Johnson, even though he won the award last year, he is still the outstanding talent in this Super League this year.
Well, he scored 3 tries in the last game and a half in front of our cameras. You can't argue with that, but I think that Neil Dukes will have a word to say about the defence down that right-hand side.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Eddie, although I think he is so good that he made both of those defenders look worse than they probably are. And there's a bit of effort here there from Leigh. I said when we watched a £1 million game here, it was also over 2 years ago, I think, when they played against the Bradford side, well, back at the end of 2015. He was outstanding in that game then, Tom Johnston, and he's got a massive future. The more often they can get him the ball, the more dangerous Wakefield will be. They've also got other good wingers. As I said, Ben Jones-Bishop on this side, if he gets some possession, he's got some good feet too.
So is the comeback on? Craig Hubie, they're certainly running with a bit more venom, and they're going down that left-hand side again looking for Johnson with Scott Griggs at the moment, that he's surrounded by black jersey, and Danny Tickle came back for a second snap, and with a bit of help from Ben Crooks, Griggs went to ground. Here is Arona again for Trinity, and he gets to within 7-8 metres of the line. Last one though, Liam Finn, well, he did well there, and he took that ball up around his neck, around his ears, and managed to get the kick away. And what a good kick it is too.
Lovely agility from Liam Finn. He needed to get that kick away. And Scott Griggs, just with that shoulder, he's had some issues with that shoulder previously. He played the ball, went down on his haunches, and the physio came on just to check it.
So suddenly Wakefield have a little bit of belief, a lot more belief than they had 10.5 minutes ago, that's for sure. They've started the second half brightly, have Trinity.
It's amazing what a try can do. A couple of decent sets of 6 as well.
Policia drops the pass off for Danny Tickle to take it forward. Played for England, well, way back, 2009, 2012, did Danny Tickle. Drinkwater seems to have recovered from the knock, gets the kick away. Trapped by Ben Jones-Bishop, who will run it back. Only as far as Green and company. Tickle following up as well with that man Policia. Griggs to Bill Tupu.
It's a big 5 minutes here for Wakefield. Now they've got themselves back in the game.
Here he is, Johnson. Red alert in the Leigh defence every time Tom Johnson gets the ball now, I fancy.
Yeah, he's a danger man, isn't he? Again, Liam Finn getting his hands on the ball.
Hubie spreads it wide. Here is Hadley again. He'll come up the middle, will Dean Hadley. And a month's loan from Hull FC, who play Wigan tomorrow night in one of the top matches of the evening. We have Saints and Warrington for you. This is Ben Jones Bishop. Saints Warrington tomorrow, 7:30 Sky Sports 2. Vital game for those two. Williams, high kick. High kick. Claimed by Ryan Hampshire.
He was well taken under pressure from Arundel. Everything seemed to be at speed in that set of 6 from Wakefield Trinity. And this is where they now need to keep leading, need to turn the pressure up. The first half, the line speed wasn't good enough to be at front at half-time, but this is where they really need to work hard. Hold the Leigh defender up, take him to ground, try and turn him on his back.
And Lachlan Burr almost away. Finished off by Dean Hadley. Reynolds goes to Harrison Hansen. He was under pressure the moment he fumbled that ball. He's dropped it.
Good pressure, Liam Finn.
And Leigh Centurions are under a bit of pressure now. Just Drinkwater just going up the sideline. Physio and doctor taking a good look at him. So they'll have had to adjust how they're going to play this game. And I wonder how long it'll be before they get the big fella, Gareth Hock, on. There's the mistake from Harrison Hansen.
Well, Wakefield look like the hunters, not the hunted, which is what they appeared for the first 40 minutes. Completely changed. So much of it because of the accuracy of some of the kicking. They're putting their opponents under tremendous pressure. And Leigh, with a lapse of concentration here, do not look comfortable at all.
And the go-to man, Drinkwater, off the field. So big responsibility on the likes of Ben Reynolds and co. But it's Wakefield who are in possession. And some 40 metres away with Kyle Wood, who gets it away to Dean Hadley. Wood again at dummy half. Finds the pass. Hubie will take it forward from Sam Williams. Here is Wood once again. Keegan Hurst will take it forward. Dumped to the ground though is Keegan Hurst, the man who followed John Keir from Batley. Wood to Liam Finn. And Liam Finn almost saw an opening. Harrison Hansen was quick to close it down. Quick play the ball though. Not the best pass. Ben Crooks picks up the gift.
Yeah, it was a great, it was a gift. Sloppy play at the back end of the set. Couple of good carries, couple of good set-up plays. Liam Finn with a drop of the shoulder, and Kyle Wood gets the ball. I think it slips out of his hand when he's trying to pass that ball to his teammate.
Crooks takes it forward again, gamely, on tackle number 3. Harrison Hansen now.
They're just going back to the same mentality, the Centurions, as they started this game. Give it to a forward, let's go from speed from dummy half. Elwa Polissier.
And there's a flurry of activity on the sideline. It looks like Acton and the player I mentioned, Gareth Hock, are getting ready to come on for the Centurions.
Acton comes on. That's a charge down. This could bounce very nicely for Sam Williams. It could almost have been a problem for the Centurions. Knock on. Knock on, says the referee.
Yeah, it was within the ball steal, I think, wasn't it? He's pulled the ball out, it's gone forward, and Leigh get possession back. Everything okay up until that point. But again, typifies the pressure now that Wakefield are putting Leigh under. Kicks, passes, runs, everything is being challenged and contested. And Leigh don't look comfortable now. Look, they're even contesting the ball there in the tackle. They'll receive the ball back here, the Centurions. It's stripped forward. That's a knock-on according to the referee. And Leigh get the chance to put the ball into this scrum.
They'll be relieved about that. They'll also be relieved that the bounce was not kind to Sam Williams, because had he pouched that, I think he'd have been over. It was about 40 metres to run, but he was certainly, he would have been in pole position. Not now, because Wakefield have conceded a penalty for offside.
Well, Wakefield realising that Jamie Acton, the freshman for the Centurions, is back on the pitch and just needed to take that space off him, Craig Hubie. He gets up, he wanted his first contact to be good in defence. And now they brought on the other starting prop, Gareth Hock. So both of the starting prop forwards for the Centurions are back on the pitch now.
So here they come with Ryan Hampshire and a Televe. They have some destructive runners when Hock and Vey and Acton and Co are out there, and Hopkins. And here is Gareth Hock. Wakefield will try and unsettle him if they possibly can. Draw a penalty from him, but here is Lachlan Burr. And he takes it forward, and Danny Kerman stands his ground. They're getting closer though, Leigh. They're 9 metres away as Burr to his feet plays it to Pelissier. Here is Hampshire. Hampshire goes over the top and finds Matty Dawson, and that's a tremendous try and a great ball from Hampshire. Matty Dawson. He's not giving it to forward pass.
Well, he got that. The ball just goes forward, but what about the ball? To throw that pass shows that you're confident. Hampshire, when he goes at the line, you can seize that space out wide for Dawson.
The touches is in a brilliant position, is it? In fact, there's nobody in a better position. He stood perfectly placed. Whether the pass goes forward or not, Eddie, you have to accept the referee's decision.
Hampshire was moving forward. I hate to ring this word up, Stuart. What about the momentum rule?
Well, it doesn't matter where Hampshire ends up. It's what happens to the ball. You know, I think on that occasion the lob pass did actually drift forward. Jack Smith's in a great position though.
And now to compound the sin, Wakefield get the penalty because Leigh are offside at the play the ball. For 26 years we've been going on about the momentum rule, and now you say, Stuart, it doesn't exist.
Momentum does exist. It's just not in that example though. It doesn't matter how far. If you throw the ball forward and sprint ahead of in front of it, it's still a forward pass. You have to throw the ball backwards or sideways.
Sheer physics tells me that not many balls are thrown backwards in this game because you're moving at 20 or 30 mile an hour forward.
Isn't this good play from Wakefield?
It is. They're really back into it.
Yeah, look at Jacob Miller clapping. He wants that ball quick.
Yes, he's out there now, Jacob Miller. He was the difference in a 17-16 victory for Wakefield not too long ago. Here is Danny Kermond. The 17-6 victory against Leigh it was. Most recent meeting also 2015 at the Leigh Sports Village. That was. But here is a chance for Williams. Trying to pinch one, Mickey Hyam style from dummy half. Kermond waits. Fires the pass along into centre field. Finn with a nice delicate little kick. Picked up by Miller. He's got that down. And Wakefield are going to draw themselves level.
Got fifth tackle, Ben. I've got to try.
Try on the field.
Set the onside, offside, and set the grounding.
Two things to check: onside, offside, and then the grounding. Nothing wrong with the grounding, I don't think. But over to you, Ben Thaler and Stuart Cummings.
Well, certainly look at the kick through first. It's usually a planned move, so players are usually onside, and we can see there that he's behind the ball, so there won't be an issue there. It's whether a Leigh defender, I think, manages to get underneath the ball. Does he manage to stop him grounding the ball? So on first look, can't really see anything from there. We can see the ball's in his arm and the ball's on the ground there. He's in possession, so this should be a try. The only thing that would stop it if we see he loses the ball against the Leigh player on the way down. Does he manage to retain possession all the way? That's inconclusive. The referee's awarded the try on the field, so we need to see some proof that he shouldn't have. And again, can't see him lose possession there. Seems to be in possession. The ball's down. I think that's the shot that tells us. So this try should be confirmed.
Well, Jacob Miller's come off the bench, and has he scored the vital try? Yes, he has. Jacob Miller. 2 tries, or tries in 2 rather, prior to the defeat against Leeds last week. Remember his 50-metre drop goal against the Catalans at the Magic. Remember his 1-pointer at the Leigh Sports Village in 2015. Or rather, that was from Lee Smith. It was a Jacob Miller try that was the feature of that match. His first substitute appearance in British football, and it is a vital substitute's try from Jacob Miller. And they've increased it, so the scores are level.
What a game changer. We had a try which you thought at one end was legitimate, but then from the other, Wakefield have not wasted any time here in getting themselves back level. With a brilliant kick, we've seen this play. It's a regular play and a favourite one for Jacob Miller.
Reminiscent of the try that was awarded to the Trinity side. It was a penalty try, of course, at St Helens, but made no mistake, Jacob Miller started this game from the bench because his coach wasn't happy with last week. And some players can sulk, some players can take the bat and ball on, but Jacob Miller has chose to show his coach just exactly what he can provide to his side.
Keegan Hurst drives the ball forward. Let's get some Leigh injury news. Bill.
Yeah, and I wonder whether Josh Drinkwater's departure has just disrupted things for the Centurions. Drinkwater off with a knee problem. Things just cranking up a little bit. We could be in for an interesting final quarter here. But Drinkwater off with what looks like a knee problem. They've got it strapped up. There's a chance he'll come back on. And there's another problem for Leigh, because James Green left the field. Now, they retrospectively, according to the match sideline match officials, retrospectively claimed that it was a concussion assessment, but they'd already made the change, and so that has not been allowed as a concussion assessment. And Green, I think, is still in the dressing room being checked over by the medical team, but it's not a concussion switch, so it's not a free interchange.
Well, they just have had a penalty, the Wakefield Trinity side, for, well, it was deemed to be a high challenge by Chris Campbell, but it looked as though it came off the arms. That was more high on Craig Hewby.
That wasn't a high shot, that.
Which, that one or the other one?
The other one, the first one.
Absolutely nothing wrong with Gareth.
He's got off the line. He's hit Jacob Miller around the arms, hasn't he? Not made contact with the head. That was play on.
Well, it wasn't, because the referee blew the whistle and gave the penalty. And Wakefield, look where they are. Look where they are now in terms of an attacking force. They're 20 metres away with Dean Hadley. Hadley is brought to ground on tackle number 5. Not many metres forward, but they might make a few more here with Williams. Another deft little kick, but picked up on his own line.
Chris Chester furious with the end of that play. He thought that his side were going to come up with a better play, maybe get a repeat set of 6. But Wakefield certainly are dictating the speed of this game. In the last 10 minutes, they really have got the line speed sorted out. They're defending tight, they're talking.
Need the big men like Atelier and like Gareth Hock to put their hands up and drive the ball forward. That's what they're doing.
Well, Gareth Hock trying to assert his physicality. He's got penalised, in my opinion, for tackling too hard.
Well, we saw it at slow motion, Barry, and you can see why the referee made the error, because the hands and the arm was high, the head went back. Here it is again.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't, except what
it.
you say, but it came up off his arms. The guy hit the deck, his head went back, and you can see why referee Chris Campbell interpreted it the way he did. Anyway, it's academic now, because it was given. Nothing came as a result of it, fortunately for Gareth Hock. And so Wakefield with Keegan Hurst
Wakefield
are back in possession.
They've just stripped the game back, haven't they? Liam Finnan behind dummy half, Jacob Miller again dropping the ball off to one of his forwards, just targeting those same defenders, taking some energy out of them. Then when Liam got the ball, then devastating runners of the ball, can't do much with it.
Another nice little kick.
Again, Eddie, it's a nice kick, but it's a good chase as well, isn't it?
Good job that Mitch Brown was in position again. They've moved Hampshire forward, I think, and Mitch Brown is playing a full back, haven't they, to cover for the Drinkwater departure.
Ryan Hampshire played a lot of his junior career as a 6. He went to Castleford on loan because he wanted to play 6 whilst a Wigan player, so he'll be relishing the opportunity to get his hands on the ball a little bit more. Will it benefit the Centurions? We'll wait and see.
You know, it is 24-all, but it looks to me like Leigh are almost in the defensive mindset at the moment. They're hanging on here, aren't they, now, as the Jamie Acton again gets them forward. But Wakefield are one who are doing all the chasing here now, all the effort, as Hampshire puts the kick in now.
Not a bad little kick, finds the ground, but it also finds Scott Griggs, who'll run it back.
Chris Chester making some substitutions now, bringing on Arona. All good. The feet are getting ready to come back onto the park, so sending on the big guns to continue the battle going forward.
Now that's high. That was high.
That's a high shot, Eddie.
No problem with that one.
That's a penalty.
Tom Johnson with his footwork.
Keep him down.
He does, Gareth Hock. He sticks his arm out. There you go. No problem with that.
Well, he's treading a thin tightrope, because Chris Campbell has just said to him, I'm not telling you again, Gareth, keep your arms down.
Yes, Eddie, but my argument is the one before that was not a high tackle.
But
it
that's
was just
in your
a hard
opinion,
tackle.
Barry, not in the opinion of the referee. Go out and get the whistle. Go and take a whistle. You know, that's all you can say.
One. Move. Hold. Go. One.
He's made his decision, Chris Campbell, and so that's why the warning's come.
2. Move. Get it.
Sorry.
Hold. Go. 2.
This is Liam Finn. Here is Craig Hubie.
Good feet from Hubie.
3. Move, Mickey. Hold the line. 3. Hold.
Fifita's winding himself up for a run. Here he is. Here he is, Fifita. He bounced Ben Reynolds out of the way. It was a good job. There was heavy artillery waiting for him. Liam Finn pointing the direction. Gets the ball away to Jacob Miller. That's a nice chip. Nice chip out wide. Ben Jones-Bishop will score! Oh, Willie! Referee Chris Campbell has a try on the field.
He certainly knows how to finish, doesn't he, Ben Jones-Bishop?
Well, again, it's from a kick. You can see Ben Jones-Bishop well behind the ball.
Brilliant kick from Williams.
Nothing wrong with the tackle. Wasn't tackled in the air because the ball... well, let's have a look at the grounding before we decide on that. I think that's what Chris Campbell wants to see.
So would that be an 8-point try then if he's tackled in the air and he scores?
Well, he's tackled in the air, so there's a foul on the kicker. Is it in the act of scoring? He's probably a long way out, so that probably wouldn't take it into account.
That's not in the act of scoring.
Well, it's not, because he's on the ground and he's made some more ground. So is the ball short? We need to move it on. Does it actually travel away? He's 8 metres away.
He might get a penalty if this is not given.
Sure, he'll get a penalty, Eddie.
The ball's on the ground and it moves forward. That's a try. Try. So it'll be awarded where he is there.
Here's the super zoom, Stuart.
It comes down short, but his momentum takes it over, so I don't think there's an issue there. You know, the ball's on the ground there. I think the shot that we saw before shows the ball on the line. I don't think there's an issue with it. I think this is a try.
So isn't that a good finish from Ben Jones-Bishop?
It's an excellent finish, but is there a movement of the ball on
I think he'll disallow this.
Is the tackle there completed?
That's a try. I think they'll disallow
from
it.
that angle, though. You look at the different angles.
But it's been sent up as a try, hasn't it, from the referee?
Here we go. You know, I'm saying it doesn't matter where the ball is there. Let's have it follow it through. It's on the line at that point, so it's a try.
It's been sent up as a try. It looks a try. Surely.
It is a try, mate.
Yes.
Ben Thaler's the man with the final word, and he agrees. Can see where the query was coming from, but the fight back now is complete in the second half. They've turned around a 24-12 deficit. They lead 28-24, Wakefield.
Well, he's got a big influence, hasn't he? Sam Williams, look at that. He pulls up the defenders. They go from the run. They go 2 passes, which pulls up the Leigh Centurions that create the space out on the edge. Look, when you're defending, the ball's been passed along. You can't sit back defending. You've got to move up. And then with Ben Jones-Bishop running onto that ball, it was a brilliant carry. He concentrates, he catches that ball. Again, Leigh defenders moving up, space on the edge. Good play from Ben Jones-Bishop.
He does well, Ben Jones-Bishop. He holds his chalk. There's a space for his half-back, Sam Williams, to kick into. Obviously, the execution, the catch, the finish, that's first class. But I think it all starts with him holding shape and staying on the sideline.
Can Sam Williams add the extras? No, he can't. Nope. 28-24, big finish coming up in the last 14 minutes or so.
Well, here's a wonderful opportunity here at Wakefield, showing playing far more space from the right end of the field, and they're taking the chances. It goes back to that forward pass and the Leigh disallowed try. How crucial that's been. You need some decision to go for you, some will go against you. You need to accept them and roll on here now, and this team have rolled down the field. Just less than 13 to go. They have a narrow lead, and it's interesting to see, do Leigh have any players with the ability now to change the momentum of this match?
The brains trust from Wakefield. That's a big hit on Fifita.
That was a huge hit from Danny Tickle.
His feet are over the line. That's a heck of a kick-off, a heck of a chase, a heck of a tackle, and they get the ball back.
Well, he's one of the biggest men in Super League, Fifita. Look at him, when he gets the ball, straight into Dawson, straight into Danny Tickle. Again, the second effort.
Is it a shoulder charge, Terry? Is it a shoulder charge? It's irrelevant here now.
No, that's perfect. That's a legal tackle. He's going to get his arm around Fifita. And you've got to put your arm wide to get it around Fifita. It's good contact. It's aggressive contact from the Centurions, and you can see Fafita's foot goes into touch.
So a real chance here then for Leigh to immediately strike back. Here is Danny Tickle, who was part and parcel of that wonderful tackle. 20 metres away, Hyam. Lots of talking points in this match. I'm sure that John Wells, Brian Carney and co at the end will be looking back on some of these incidents and throwing up the odd question mark, throwing up the odd exclamation mark. I've no doubt about that. Reynolds with a little dabble, that's brave. Well, some would say that's a bit foolish.
On the second play, when you're close to the opponent's line, why would you come up with a play like that when you're 4 points behind?
Deep in goal area, maybe that was a temptation.
Eddie, you're playing other three players. You challenge them. You put them in awkward positions. You try and pull somebody out of the defensive line. You drop the ball onto your boot. You get a repeat set of 6. You don't kick it on the second play.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. I'm just trying to find it's like a case for the defence.
Well, I'm just thinking if I'm a Leigh forward, that I don't want to defend. I want a couple more players. I want to get me recovery.
Here's Dean Hadley. He's played a big part in this second half as Hadley. Liam Finn on halfway gives it to Hubie. He too has played a big part in this comeback from Wakefield Trinity. Fafita.
He's got a little skip out, hasn't he? The outside defenders have got to push up really hard on him to turn him back inside.
When you see that, you just wonder how on earth the likes of Matty Dawson got him down and put him into touch.
With help from his teammates. And the mark is now not square. So Wakefield get a penalty. Be interesting, will they go for 2 points here, or will they keep the pressure on? You can't get him down to ground. You're trying to get round, you're trying to get set. And all of a sudden, because you're hurrying, you know that Wakefield are going to challenge you down that left edge on the short side. You jump out, you give that penalty away.
So you're moving it back there, are you?
I don't know what the message is from Chris Chester, but I think that Sam Williams fancies this 2 points that's on offer.
Yeah, they'll take the points. Take it up to a 6-point lead. And then Phil talked about in the first half, maybe go for the 1 point, the set-up play.
Yeah. If this goal goes over and there is a 6-point lead, this kick reception and return of the kick-off is so important. They can't afford to get David Fafita pushed into touch as Lee Gilmore, Chris Chester. They want to bank the 2 points, slow the game down, just take the pace out of it.
So it's up to Sam Williams to oblige. And he sliced it away from the goal, so Danny Tickle is able to run this ball back. That's a disappointment for Wakefield and Sam Williams. That's 2 in a row he's missed.
Tell you what was the disappointment, the chase really. They wouldn't see many players if they had too much confidence in his kicking ability, but very few of them did much to put Leigh under pressure as he caught the ball in goal there.
And here is a penalty that is manna from heaven for Leigh.
Well, that's the gamble, isn't it? You don't get the ball over the dead ball line, then all of a sudden you're annoyed with yourself. You give the penalty away and you're just defending. You marched up the pitch and look where they are now, defending in their own half. These Centurions were gifted that opportunity then.
They were. I think Phil's right. I think Wakefield, the players were that confident that Sam Williams was going to kick that. That's why they got the lackadaisical chase. Nothing lackadaisical about that little run and scoop from dummy half by Mickey Hyam. Ryan Hampshire, dummy half. Hock gets it away to Reynolds. Reynolds goes wide and it's flicked on by Brown. Here is Adam Hickson. Hansen again, taking it to the line, taking it into the body of David Fafita, helped out by Kyle Wood. Down he goes. Mickey Hyam is dummy half. 4 tackles gone. Gets the pass away. Does Gareth Hock, and it's forward again.
Forward Gareth Hock, and Neil Dukes knows that the ball was out the back. Gareth Hock, he takes it to the teeth of the defence. He shapes to put it behind, and that no-look pass to Jamie Acton, the quality just isn't there. No doubt about that. No momentum rule with that one, Eddie. That's a forward pass all day and all night. And Neil Dukes and his coaching staff know we need to be better than that, boys.
You don't get many opportunities, Eddie. Obviously, we're just over 7 minutes to go in this game, making that mistake close to the opposition's line.
Well,
I think they'll get another, though. I think they'll definitely get another try. One more chance. They need to convert that chance, don't they? Wait patiently for it. But spring to life, Eddie, in the 6 or so minutes when this, I think, one more opportunity comes to win this match.
It's amazing, though, the way history can come back and haunt teams. Remember all the years that Warrington struggled against St Helens. It's turned a little bit round for them lately. But here, Leigh have not won a league match here since 1993 in the old First Division. It's amazing that some teams just can't find the way to beat other teams.
This is a big kick now here.
It is. And Miller's claiming he was flattened after the ball had gone. Touch judges, though, stand their ground on the touchline. So there's no doubt in their mind.
Mitch Brown catching that ball on the full.
And Miller back to his feet.
Yeah, tries to get centre field, met by Craig Hoover. Look at the speed now, injected from the outside backs. Will Mickey Hyam go from dummy half here?
No, but Ryan Hampshire will have a dash.
All around the ruck area, Eddie. Wakefield not getting back. Mickey Hyam keeping it nice and tight.
Gareth Hogg. Oh, drops the pass off to James Green. Was he expecting it?
It was just a bit hard, that, from Gareth Hogg. Come up with 2 plays. Last time they've got the last 2 sets of 6, sorry. Just under a bit too much pressure then.
He was expecting it. I think they were targeting the ruck. I think they were trying to run at some of those forwards who look a little bit fatigued now on both sides. But another mistake and another missed opportunity for the Centurions.
And time is the essence for Wakefield, and it's the enemy for Leigh, as Reynolds brings Miller down. Tom Johnson again.
Both teams keeping it nice and tight, aren't they?
Well, you've got to say next try wins it, one way or the other. Providing it's a 6-point try for Wakefield, providing it's a 6-point try. Oh, the ball has come free and it's been flicked back. What's happened there? Was that not knocked down by a Leigh player? No, it wasn't. It was dropped by Ben Jones-Bishop. Now they get the penalty.
And he did well, Dawson, as well then, because he backed off, bought himself a bit of time, waited for the inside defenders to come across and help him before he committed and pounced on Ben Jones-Bishop. That's a strip.
Well, I think it's a knock-on, isn't it, against Leigh?
Matty Dawson strips that ball, knocks the ball out in the process.
It's a one-on-one tackle, but the ball's gone forward after he stripped it out, like the one we had earlier in the game.
And Chris Chester thought it was 6 to go. But it's 6 tackles that they have to withstand now, but Leigh beginning from deep inside their own half of the field. Wakefield now with 4 minutes to a comeback victory. Mickey Hyam. Hampshire showed it, kept hold of it himself, then gave it to Tickle. Made no ground on that.
What's left in the tank for both of these sides here?
Well, that's to be something inventive from Leigh, you get the feeling. They haven't troubled the scorer in this second half. Wakefield have certainly troubled them. That's a high kick, a high hanging kick. Scott Griggs is good under them. He has been throughout his career.
Brilliant take. I think it was Terry O'Connor who remarked on it a couple of weeks ago. He outstretches his arms, gets them nice and high and uses those as sights to catch the ball. But it still needs that composure. It still needs your mind to slow this situation down. And Wakefield now in front on the scoreboard. I don't think for 1 second they feel comfortable in this game.
No, they won't, but they're over halfway with Kyle Wood. But he is brought to ground by Ben Reynolds on tackle number 4.
Looking for support of one of his teammates then, wasn't he, Kyle Wood?
Arona gets the ball away. Here is Fafita. Leigh looking to halt the progress, which they do on tackle number 5.
Penalty.
Stolen.
This will be 2 points, Eddie. 40 metres out, centre field. Surely Wakefield will go for it. You're just trying to hit him with absolutely everything. Mickey Hyam will just grab hold of whatever he can grab hold of to bring him to ground. Unfortunately, he's got his arm around the ball as he's trying to pull him down. The ball comes free, and that's a penalty. So what will they do? Will they go for the 2 points? Will they keep the pressure on?
I think they'll keep the pressure on with 2 minutes remaining.
It's a difficult kick, isn't it, 40 metres there? I don't think it's a definite give me the 2 points.
I'd back Sam Williams though there, Phil.
Well, he doesn't fancy it, does he? He's gone to touch. You know, we've got a similar conclusion to the last game we had on Sky when Catalan played St Helens. But on this occasion, the visitors don't seem to have the energy or enterprise at present here to threaten their side here. Just going to stop the clock again momentarily. 2 minutes to go. Just less. 4-point lead, and we are at the wrong end of the field for the team behind.
And maybe Wakefield deciding to keep the pressure on because Williams has missed with his previous two kicks at goal.
2, move, we meet Harrison for 2. Hold.
Allgood gets to his feet and plays the ball. Here is Jacob Miller. Arona goes up the middle.
3.
Well, maybe now, although it's only 4 points, but look at the clock. Now is the time for a 1-pointer. Maybe Miller wants 4.
4, move, Harrison.
They're so close to that line.
On the line, 4.
Fifita waits, but it goes to Arona.
A drop goal won't help them, Eddie. It'll give them 5 points, not 6 points.
Yeah, but there's only a minute to go.
And it will be them receiving the ball near the try line. They need to be at this end of the pitch, and I think Wakefield will probably look to either hand the ball over on their opposition's line or get the ball out of play and slow the clock down.
Well, he went to do that, but he didn't. And they've got a minute to go on a set of 6. They now have a penalty. They now have a penalty.
A crucial defensive set. They've started that defensive set with a mistake and a penalty. Matthias Hurst just given a little shove. Madness from the Trinity player. The rest of his teammates need to be on the money now. If they want to take these 2 competition points, they need to defend this set.
Hey, great finish. Come on.
It is a great finish. And Wakefield piling in to make sure that there is no way forward for Leigh. What does Gareth Hock and company have in the locker? Hampshire gets it away. Here is Mitch Brown again. Into the last 25 seconds we go. Leigh looking for the try that would get them a draw at least, and maybe a victory. Hampshire with a chip over the top. But Wakefield have got the ball back, and Wakefield are going to go home and stay home with the victory. And now they definitely will because they have a penalty.
A superb positioning from Scott Briggs, who's been solid as a rock all year for the Trinity side. He has to have nerves of steel.
Well, Chris Chester knows this is a victory because they have the penalty. Wakefield, they'll pump it into touch. They'll restart, and surely they'll just run the ball over the line. They have kept Leigh down to 0 points in this second half, and they've turned round a 24-12 half-time deficit into a 28-24 victory. And there we are. He took a tap penalty, just tapped it to himself, did Miller, and booted the ball over the line. And that's time. And Wakefield have won by 28 points to 24. Close run thing, entertaining.
A very, very good second half. 36 points in the first half for the purists. That won't be good enough, and I dare say the coaches, when they review this game, will say we need to be a little bit better defensively. But you can't criticise the character, especially from the Trinity side. Chris Chester, when he got his team in at half-time, he said you've been out-enthused, you need to run harder, you need to hit harder and match the intensity that the Centurions have played. Well, they have. They've won on the scoreboard, they've taken the 2 points, and they'll take plenty from this game.
They will take plenty from this game. Wakefield take the 2 points from this game. It's a setback for Leigh, but it's a great boost.